Title: The Mockery of the Stars, the Galactic Council's Hubris. Chapter 1: The Aftermath of Victory. The Galactic Council's victory over humanity was swift and decisive. The humans, despite their ingenuity and determination, were no match for the combined might of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Earth's colonies were reduced to ashes, their fleets scattered, and their homeworld placed under strict Council control. The war was over, and the Council had emerged victorious. But the Council's triumph was not enough. They wanted more. They wanted to humiliate the humans, to make an example of them for any species that might dare to challenge the Council's authority. And so, in the Grand Chamber on Nova Prime, the counselors gathered to celebrate their victory and to mock the defeated humans. Chapter 2: The Council's Mockery. The chamber was filled with laughter and jeers as the counselors took turns ridiculing the humans. Counselor Thalos, who had been one of the war's most vocal proponents, stood at the podium, a smug grin on his face. "Look at them," he sneered, gesturing to a holographic image of Earth. They thought they could conquer the stars, but they couldn't even conquer their own petty squabbles. They are nothing but insects, scurrying about in the dirt. The other counselors laughed, their voices echoing through the chamber. Counselor Zara, who had opposed the war, sat in silence, her expression grim. She had warned them that the humans were not to be underestimated, but her words had fallen on deaf ears. Chapter 3: The Humans' Resilience. On Earth, the humans were struggling to rebuild. The Council's occupation was harsh, and their mockery was a constant reminder of their defeat. But the humans were not broken. They had faced adversity before, and they had always found a way to survive. In the shadows, resistance groups began to form. They were small and poorly equipped, but they were determined. They knew that they could not defeat the Council in open battle, but they could fight in other ways. They could sabotage, they could spy, and they could sow discord among the Council's ranks. Chapter 4: The Seeds of Rebellion. The Council's mockery had unintended consequences. The humans, though defeated, were not without allies. Other species, who had once viewed the humans with suspicion, began to see them in a new light. They saw the Council's cruelty and arrogance, and they began to question their own place in the galaxy. On the fringes of Council space, whispers of rebellion began to spread. The humans, though weak, were inspiring others to resist. The Council's victory had not brought peace, but rather, it had sown the seeds of discontent. Chapter 5: The Council's Downfall. The rebellion grew, slowly at first, but with increasing momentum. The Council, confident in their victory, had grown complacent. They had not anticipated that their mockery would unite their enemies against them. The humans, though still outmatched, played a crucial role in the rebellion. Their knowledge of Council tactics and technology proved invaluable, and their determination inspired others to fight. The Council's forces, stretched thin and overconfident, began to falter. Chapter 6: The Fall of Nova Prime. The final battle took place above Nova Prime. The Rebellion's fleet, a patchwork of ships from a dozen different species, descended on the Council's capital. The battle was fierce, but the Rebellion's determination was unshakable. In the end, the Council's Grand Chamber was reduced to rubble. Counselor Thalos, who had once mocked the humans, was captured and brought before the Rebellion's leaders. He was forced to kneel before a human, a symbol of the Council's hubris and downfall. Epilogue: A New Galaxy. The Rebellion's victory marked the beginning of a new era. The Galactic Council was no more, and in its place a new alliance was formed. The humans, once mocked and defeated, were now respected members of this new alliance. They had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they could rise again. The galaxy, though scarred by war, began to heal. The Council's mockery had been their undoing, and their arrogance had cost them everything. But from the ashes of their defeat, a new hope emerged. The stars, once a symbol of the Council's dominance, now shone with the promise of a brighter future. The End.